took his hat and rubbed his head like drinking and having fun.
Poison. Hit the bed. Hey boss. Hi boss. Hi guys. I woke up. Guys in the morning, like usual. In the morning, head to school, class. Gang, you got. I'm walking back up. See boss. See boss. See guys. Let's chill here. Press play.
It was pretty smooth.
The
sun was shining bright. The guy had a bit off the whole time, and I figured it was because I brought my roommate. After drinking 3 or 4 beers, I felt the courage to ask the guy what was wrong, and if he was still pissed that I brought my roommate. He responded with something along the lines of, "It just kind of ruined my plans." My roommate chimed in and asked, "What plans?" I could tell my roommate thought it was funny because it sounded like the guy wanted to be alone with me. The guy looked at him and said, "Well, because you're here, I can't kill him." This took me off guard completely, and I felt fear and unbelievable relief hit me at the same time. My roommate and this guy started cracking up, and my roommate brushed it off as a joke. I didn't know what to think. Was this guy serious? Did I narrowly avoid being killed? Is his sense of humor just that weird? I believe I got my answer when I went below deck an hour later to grab another beer from the fridge. Next to the fridge was a brown swinging door that led to a small private bedroom. I was feeling the beer pretty good by this point, and without thinking, I pushed the door open to have a look. Laying at the foot of the bed, there was this big cinder block, some yellow rope, some tape, and what looked like a recorder of some sort. After seeing that, I felt sick to my stomach and wanted off this boat as soon as possible. I wanted to go back up and confront the guy, but I decided against it because I had no idea what he was capable of. What seemed like hours and hours more of being with this psycho, we finally made it back to the dock. We said our goodbyes, and on the way back to my room, I told my roommate about what I saw. He couldn't believe it. I'm pretty damn sure that my roommate saved my life that day. I shit you not, I never saw that guy again on campus. What he had planned, I don't want to know. I'm 28 years old, and this is the first time I've thought about this incident in detail because of how traumatizing it was. I met my ex-girlfriend in California in 2010. We had both lived there our whole lives, but decided to move to Maine a couple years after we started dating. She had flown to Maine on a business trip in 2012 and fell in love with everything about it. The small towns, the scenery, and the people. She came home and convinced me to pack up our whole lives and move there. And so we did. We saved up a bunch of money and rented a huge moving truck. The plan was for me to drive the moving truck across the country while she stayed behind 3 days to finish her classes at the local community college, which were due to end at that time. I would have just waited until her classes were finished, but we decided to take advantage of an incredibly good deal that we were offered from the company who provided the moving truck. She had a car that she had to drive there anyways, while I towed my car behind the moving truck. My brother came with me on the trip, helping me drive. The drive was obviously a very long one, and when my brother and I arrived in Maine, about 4 days after we had left, we were exhausted. After unloading the truck and sleeping for about 16 hours, we decided to visit the small town of Belfast, which was about 14 miles away from my new house. We ate some seafood at a little family-owned joint, rented a scary movie, and made the drive back to the house. My new house was literally in the middle of nowhere. During the day, the view of the lake in my backyard was amazing. The woods surrounding my house were awesome, and everything was really beautiful. At night, it was a different story. The house was incredibly creepy to be in. The whole house was surrounded with windows. You could not see anything looking out those windows at night, but I'm sure that if you were standing outside, you could quite easily see in. My brother had a flight booked back to California the following day, and we woke up very early in the morning to drive to Portland, where the airport was. I eventually made it back alone and wasn't able to make any phone calls or watch any cable TV because we had no service out there yet and no cable or internet hooked up. My cell phone did not work anywhere on the property. The only thing I had was a box of DVDs. That was it. When I made it back, I decided to try out my new fishing pole that we had bought in town. I wasn't out at the lake very long, as it started to get dark in Maine very fast in the fall. I went back to the house and sat in the living room in the chair, looking out the windows at the scenery. My view was getting darker and darker. I turned on all the lights in the house and quickly became creeped out when it became pitch black outside. Imagine being in the middle of the forest in the middle of nowhere at night and looking around. You could not see your own hand if you held it right in front of your face. And when I say it was pitch black, I mean you can't see anything. We hadn't hung up any curtains or blinds yet, and I had the extremely uneasy feeling that somebody was outside the house, watching me go from room to room. I decided to hang up sheets over all the windows using thumbtacks. I sat on the couch in the living room and put in a funny movie to try and shake the unnerving feeling that I had. It did not work. I eventually realized I had to try to get some sleep, and my eyelids were becoming sore. I was getting very tired. I covered myself with blankets on the couch and turned off the TV. After a few minutes, my eyes had adjusted, and I could see around the living room very slightly. My eyes were very heavy, and I fell asleep. I woke up sometime later, and it was still night, and still very dark. I reached for my bottle of Coke that I had on the ground in front of me, and took a big gulp. I set it back down, and looked around the room. Now, I'm having difficulty putting these next emotions into words that I can accurately convey. My heart began to throb when I noticed a man standing in the corner of the room. I couldn't see his eyes, but he had to have been looking at me. I did nothing and said nothing, and not by choice, but because I couldn't. I was frozen. He didn't move, and it was clear that he was trying to not be seen. After a few moments, I did my best to think rationally and logically. I'm not sure that he knew that I had seen him. I had a blanket over me, which might have shrouded my face, in which he wouldn't be able to see my eyes. After about a minute of gut-wrenching fear, I somehow decided to do something, and it was the hardest thing that I've ever done. I forced myself to cough. I did it while getting up, in an effort to give him the impression that I didn't know that he was there. I slowly made it to my feet and walked across the icy cold wood flooring to the bathroom around the corner of the living room. He didn't move. I made it into the bathroom and nothing happened. I closed the bathroom door and slowly turned the lock to the upright position. Tears went down my face as I backed up into the bathtub behind me. I was staring at the door. I suddenly realized there was a small window up above the bathtub that I could most likely crawl through. I moved the shower curtain as silently as I could and reached up to the window lock.
Push it. It's bad, you know, the usual shit. Hey boss. Hey boss. Hey guys, I'm welcome back up. See you guys in the morning. 5 in the morning, yo, let's head to school, you know the usual. Should never die. I'm welcome back up. See you boss. See boss. See guys. Gang you hood. Let's go chill here again, yo. Push play.
I unlocked it and tried sliding the window open to the left. The window began to squeak when I pulled it open, and I froze, hoping that the man didn't hear it. A couple seconds later, I heard a tapping on the bathroom door. It wasn't a knock, but a tap, and it didn't sound like the tap of a finger. It sounded like metal, like he was tapping a knife against the door. At this point, I made the realization that the man either knew what I was doing or simply wanted me to know that he was outside the door. Adrenaline took over completely, and I slid the window open and pushed the screen out onto the ground. I tried not to exert any noise as I jumped up and began squeezing my body through the small window. My head and upper body were out, and I could not see inside the bathroom anymore, only the dense, dark woods in front of me. I was pulling my legs through the window when I suddenly felt the man grab my foot. Directly after that, before I could even react, I felt my ankle be sliced open. I let out a noise of shock and surprise as I pulled out of his grasp and fell to the ground. I started heaving and felt as if my heart would explode. I stood up and looked around. I very quickly dashed out into the woods and fell to the ground, looking back at the house and the window to the bathroom. I felt my ankle, which was throbbing from pain, and brought my hand up to reveal it covered in slick blood. The deathly serious situation I was in became real and horrifying. I looked back at the house and suddenly saw the back door fly open. The man ran down the steps and started looking around into the darkness, searching for me. I became a statue on the ground and tried to control my breathing. He had a huge knife in his hand and was wearing all black. He was walking into the woods, but not near where I was laying. He was grunting, and soon after, I lost sight of him. I started frantically looking around, thinking that at any moment he would spot me and stab me to death. I saw nothing but trees and darkness. There was a bit of snow on the ground from a couple days before, and I was freezing and shaking at this point uncontrollably. About 10 minutes later, I saw the man walk out of the trees from where he entered and went back inside the house. I laid out there the rest of the night, and luckily, the sun started to rise only about an hour later. After the sun fully illuminated my surroundings, I felt as though the man had probably left, and I felt ready to move. I made it to my feet and walked around the house to the front. I saw that the front door was left wide open. I slowly approached it and looked inside. Nothing. I walked in a few steps and grabbed my car keys that were hanging on a hook by the front door. I ran back to my car and unlocked it, got inside, and started the engine. I backed out of the long driveway and drove to the little general store a few miles from my house. And this is where the story ends. I got away, and so did the intruder. My ankle was pretty badly cut, but it healed after a few months with no problems. I suffered minor pneumonia from being outside for the time that I had, but nothing too serious became of it. This incident has made sleep very difficult for me, but writing this has oddly enough made me somewhat drowsy. I think maybe I'll try to go to sleep right now. Thanks for listening. I'm a journalist, and I was told this story by a woman that I interviewed for True Crime. When this woman was a young girl, say 8 years old, she started to come downstairs at night to tell her father that there was a man in her closet. He tells her that there's no such thing as the boogeyman and sends her back to bed. This happens on and off for like a week. Finally, he gets frustrated and walks her back to the room and says, "Look, I'll show you. There's nothing in your closet," and goes to open the door. It opens an inch, and then he feels someone slam it shut. Turns out there really was a man in her closet. This guy was a pervert who would come into the house every night and stare at the girl from the closet while she slept. The dad kicked the hell out of him, and the pervert went to prison for many years. I researched her story 20 years after this happened. The guy had just gotten out of jail, and no one knew where he was. I grew up in the South in the late 70s and early 80s. My grandmother lived on a cotton farm in South Carolina, and my cousin and I would go visit her during the summer. We would help out around the farm, but during the heat of the day, we would go swimming in the river to cool off. Our favorite spot was fairly isolated, so we never really saw anyone else. But there was an old dirt road that ran from the gravel road back to an abandoned farmhouse in the woods. My cousin and I were in the river when we saw a cloud of dust in the distance. We thought maybe our uncle was coming to take us back to the farm, but we always swam for an hour or so after lunch, and he never drove the tractor to come get us. We had heard stories about some backwoods family who had gone all deliverance on some kids a few summers ago, but we figured it had to be just our uncle trying to freak us out. Regardless, we snuck up to the riverbank so we could see the dirt road, but we would still be hidden in the trees. We saw a ratty Oldsmobile Delta 88 with blacked out windows creeping down the dirt road. The car didn't belong to anyone we knew. I only remember the make and model because I knew it was the Evil Dead car and because of what happened next. After it passed by our hiding spot, we noticed it didn't have a license plate. It drove another 30 yards or so and then stopped. A black garbage bag flew out of the passenger window and into the field. Then, the car made a slow and methodical three-point turn, taking great pains not to let the tires venture too far.
Let's pause it. You know the visual routine. Gang gang. Hey boss. Hey boss. Hey guys, I'm Rocket. Welcome back up. I'll see you guys in the morning. See you guys then. 5 in the morning. Head to school. Gang gang, you heard. I'm Rocket. Welcome back up. See you boss. See you boss. See you guys. Gang gang, you heard. Let's chill here, yo. Press play. I'm born for the yo.
One night when I was about 7 years old, I went to sleep at around 9:30 and got into the second level of my bunk bed. I soon fell asleep, and then I woke up in the middle of the night to someone whispering, "No, no," repeatedly, as if they were in pain. Thinking I had just imagined it, I tried to go back to sleep, and that's when I heard the creaking of the wooden boards on the stairs, slowly getting louder, and that whisper, "No, no." I knew it wasn't my parents, because they were sleeping in the bed next to mine. Then, I heard some screaming along with the footsteps coming up the stairs, and again the whisper, "No, no." I slowly got out of bed, crept toward the ladder to get to the floor, and I slowly began to crawl towards the bedroom door in the dark, which had a full view of the stairs, and I saw nothing moving in the dark nook of the stairs, but I now heard the whisper, "No, no," coming from the room upstairs, which nobody used. I silently crept toward the stairs, but I kept the lights off, and I began to creep down them so I could check the front door. Nothing was out of place, so I turned on the living room lights, and that's when I saw it for an instant. The silhouettes of 3 people outside the living room window, and then they were gone. I proceeded to turn on every light in the house, and then crawled into bed with my parents as I waited for it to be morning. My parents were out one night, and my brother and I were home alone. We were probably 12 and 10 years old at the time. There was a knock at the front door, and I hear a voice say, "Pizza." Initially thinking it was my father playing a joke, I instinctively went to open the door. When it hit me, that wasn't my dad's voice. "We didn't order any pizza," I said out loud. There was no reply, and no audible movement. I went to my bathroom window, which allows some vision of the footpath leading from the front of our property to the front door, but you can't see the door itself. So we waited for about 15 minutes, clutching a baseball bat and some ornamental fireplace poker, until finally the guy moved away from the door and walked away. It was just some guy with dark hair and a ponytail, a long dark coat, and no pizza.
I'm not born.
This happened just a couple weeks ago on a Friday. I had two friends in my car. We were coming back from a restaurant to celebrate finishing up the school play. I just dropped the first friend off and was now making the 4 or 5 mile drive to my second friend's house. It's a narrow road that cuts through some pretty dense woods. She was in the front seat and we were listening to ballads, just talking about life. Nothing out of the ordinary. I was driving behind a deep red pickup truck that had a motorcycle in the bed. I wasn't tailgating them, even though the driver was going a bit slow for my taste and swerving around just a tad too much. I was about to reach this intersection that's not even a block from my second friend's house when this guy pulls over. Seemingly for no reason, he just pulled over to the side of the road, about a car or two length from the blinking red light. As I pass him to stop up ahead, I see his face. He has a pretty generic face, nothing unusual, but he's staring right at us with anger in his eyes. The hairs on the back of my neck stand up, and I just sense something is not right. My friend looks out the window and says, "What is he doing?" I look at my rearview mirror to see the guy getting out of his seat, pulling a ski mask over his face, and wielding a huge, I'd say 10-inch knife in his hand. He started sprinting toward my car, almost reaching the passenger side. I screamed and slammed on the gas, driving around for a while. The man only chased my car for a few blocks until he knew he wasn't going to catch us. When I got back at the intersection minutes later to drop my friend off, he was gone. My friend ran inside, locked her doors, and I sped away. But it was terrifying. I told the police and filled out a report last week. I'm never crossing that intersection again. When I was a teenager in Colorado Springs, we all used to crawl through this small tunnel that was directly under the interstate to get back and forth from our neighborhood without having to jump fences and run across the highway. One drunken night alone, I was on my way home about 2 or 3 a.m. I came out of the tunnel only to find myself face to face with this huge Rottweiler staring at me. I was in shock for a second. My stomach dropped. Instinctively, I started yelling at the dog to go home. He just stood there glaring at me, and every step I slowly took trying to get away, he would bark and growl, showing his teeth. So I started stomping toward him in a dominant way, yelling at him to go away. He turned and took steps back, but still proceeded in barking and growling. I stupidly, drunkenly started to power walk away. I then heard his feet running towards me as I had my back turned. He was right behind me when I turned around. I fell backwards, and when I looked up, he was gone, as if I had imagined the entire thing. To this day, I don't know if the dog was somebody's pet, or what. I didn't hear him running away after I fell, so I will never know just what the hell happened. I lived in New Mexico for several years before moving to the Midwest. My friend Amy and I would spend many days exploring the remote corners of New Mexico, discovering abandoned ghost towns and enjoying the quiet, desolate beauty of the desert. One afternoon in March 2010, we were traveling to Albuquerque. Always up for exploring, we took a back road rather than traveling the more direct highway. One leg of our journey had us on NM 55. It's a remote, teeny tiny two-lane highway. We loved those types of roads, up until this day. This part of New Mexico is flat and desolate desert. You can see for miles, and there is virtually nothing except dirt and rock between towns, and towns can be miles apart. So we were on NM 55 going north. We saw a white pickup truck ahead of us going the same direction. Suddenly, he stopped his truck sideways in the middle of the highway, blocking both lanes. We were about a mile away from him, and as we got closer, we began to feel uneasy. We could see no reason for him to do this. We were the only other vehicle out there, and we began wondering if we should turn around rather than come up to him and have to stop. We were about a half a mile away from him when he pulled over to the opposite side of the highway, but his truck was still pointed the direction we were going. We tried to relax a little. Surely this guy was a rancher or something. Maybe he was checking something on his land. As we passed him, we noticed a few things. One, there was only one person in the truck, a middle-aged guy who never took his eyes off of us. And two, he was talking into a walkie-talkie. A few seconds after we passed him, he pulled back onto the highway
Oh shit.
and started.
I guess I'll see you in the year later. I'll see you then, dude. Bye for now. See you in the year.